AITA. Keeping my kids away from my parents. My wife, 35F, and I, 37M, have 2 sons, 3 years and 9 Malian. My parents were very much involved with supporting our family and babysat our firstborn when my wife went back to work. My brother and his wife are having their baby in a month. My brother is the golden child of our family, where he was pampered as a child, teen, and still now. We all have decent jobs, but the thought of daycare is costly, and the complaint of, "my child is always sick," from our friends is not appealing to my wife and I. We were having dinner at our place when my brother says, "When our baby is born I need all the help we can get." We questioned what he means by that, and he clarified that his expectation was that my parents were to be at his place to support his family whenever they need them. I said, "Well, we're going to need them as well at some point, and that I expected us to work together whenever we need support." My dad then stepped in and said, "Well, you had us for, name of first child. Now it's time for your brother and his family to get the support." We went back and forth about it, where I explained that it doesn't matter because he didn't have a child at the time, and now that they will have 3 grandchildren it wouldn't be fair to just neglect my 2 children for his. I'll also add that my in-laws also help whenever we need it, and our expectation is not to pawn our children off to the grandparents. As you can imagine, it got heated. His wife has always been very vocal with our family, so she chimed in pretty much reiterating what my dad said. Context. She's expecting to be a stay-at-home mom. My wife didn't say much because this was a discussion we've had in the past, however I was hopeful this wouldn't be the case. I pretty much summed it up by saying, "Well, if that's going to be the case, we won't ask for your help, and it's sad that my kids won't be seeing their grandparents anymore." My mom was upset with the comment and tried to calm me down and asked for me not to say something so hurtful. I responded by saying that she's right, I wouldn't say anything hurtful, and to prevent that they should all leave and we would see them when we see them. When they left, my wife pulled the "I told you" on me. Am I the asshole? Update. I appreciate all of the feedback on this. I left some details out. This happened 2 weeks ago. My wife pulled the "I told you," but I left out that she was upset and felt that I went too far. She went on to message my mom and dad. I too have been in touch with my family to iron this all out. For the record, my parents are retired and are insistent on taking care of the kids for the 3-4 hours my wife and I are at work when between my first and second child. We also alternate with my in-laws so that they spend some quality time with them without the parents helicoptering around. For you parents, you know about this. There are some ridiculous comments, but we do raise our children to be respectful human beings and are not pawning off our parental duties. As for my brother and I's relationship, it upset me because I've been on the receiving end of how I feel my kids would feel if most of the attention would be going to his child. If you don't know the feeling, it does suck. My intent of my reaction was to have an equal opportunity, but the reaction that I interpreted was, like many of you have said, "You got your turn now, it's his turn," without the consideration of my children who enjoy spending time with my parents. Just thought I'd add my perspective. Update number 2. I'm reading a lot of comments about entitlement, ungrateful, and expect my parents to drop everything they're doing to babysit my kids. That's far from my relationship from my parents. First off, we are of Filipino descent, for context. Both my brother and I were raised to stretch a dollar as far as possible, not to worry about labels, and to save for the future. One of us took that advice. When both my brother and I got married to our significant other, my parents asked about grandchildren and did not want us wasting our money on daycare because they wanted to be the one to take care of them when we were at working. The way we looked at it was, why pay someone to take care of our children when we can have generations of knowledge from both me and my wife as well as my parents to pass on. Secondly, I understand my brother and his wife are going to need support. My parents as well as their in-laws and me and my wife wouldn't be there for them and not provide them support. The reason why I blew up is because the conversation that happened and the words that were coming out that both my brother and dad made me feel that there would be no time for my kids to spend with their grandparents unless it was a special occasion. I left this out, but my dad said, "It's not like we won't see them anymore, there's birthdays, Christmas, etc." That's when I got heated. I appreciate the responses. Some of you are absolute assholes for your responses. My impression of the "Am I the asshole" is to get feedback on a specific incident. Some of the comments are judging me as a person while not knowing me. I know the type of person, son, husband and father I am, which is more than capable of raising 2 intelligent, strong, respectful men who will contribute to society. They will also be taught to stick up for things that they may not feel is right, and if they are wrong in how they approach it, like I was in this instance, I will take it as a learning opportunity. I honestly feel like you started it. Your dad is right technically. Your parents' help wasn't an issue when you were the only one receiving it. Now that brother is having his new baby, it's a problem for your parents to help the newborn? I'm leaning towards YTA, but I'll say everyone sucks here because having your parents help is a privilege, not a right. You and your brother are entitled. Edit. Also, the context you added about your sister-in-law, that's kinda shady. She's a first-time mom, she'll probably need help. Her planning on becoming a stay-at-home has nothing to do with getting accustomed to a new baby in the house. You are the asshole. It sounds like your bitterness on how your parents treated your brother growing up is leaking out right now. Your kids did nothing to your parents, so why keep them from your parents because of your relationship with them? That's not fair. And your brother isn't wrong for wanting as much help as he can get with his kid. Sorry, you are the asshole here. Your parents didn't owe you the help that gave you with your first child, and they certainly don't owe you help for your second one. If this is your brother's first child, then they may need more help than you because you have experience already. You're even more of an asshole for using access to your children as blackmail to get more attention from your mommy and daddy. They sound like they are being fair, and you're still caught up in the childhood dynamic you had with your brother. Mostly I feel sorry for your parents who have two children, treating them like built-in babysitters instead of just letting them enjoy being grandparents. Everyone sucks here. This is one of the many reasons I've kind of written off having kids. I'm not the favorite, and after watching my parents turn their life upside down for my siblings' children, I didn't want to have to see how little they'd care to help with mine. But I had to admit, there are logical reasons for it too. Your parents are getting older. They will naturally be able to do less overall, and it would be disfavoring your brother's kids if they didn't give them close to the same attention yours got. It should go both ways, while also remembering that it is voluntary help, not an obligation. And that they may genuinely not be able to handle the physical burden of chasing toddlers. You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for not wanting to visit my parents after being kicked out? Looking for opinions on my current situation. I grew up in a well-off family with two loving parents, and I understood quickly how lucky I was. I always had a pretty good relationship with my parents as I grew up an only child. I got rather lucky out of high school and got into a career paying more than most 40-year-olds make at 19. I was working, saving money to buy a home by 23. They knew this goal and supported me. I thought I was easy to live with for the most part. I kept my areas clean, I worked nights so they had alone time a good 3-5 nights a week. I still took part-time college classes while working 45-50 hours a week. And I was saving lots of money and had a clear goal. Right before I turned 21 they started dropping hints about me moving out, which caught me off guard because they knew and I knew what I was doing. I recognized how lucky I was to grow up with this environment, but I was also working extremely hard to set myself up. 45-50 hours a week in a stressful job overnight. No weekends or holidays off. I was sacrificing a social life and a healthy life for this goal of buying a house. By the time I turned 21 I was being told that I need to move out in 2 months, not really an option anymore. No clear reason why besides, it's just time. I understand they have that right, but was upset and hurt for the change with no clear reason. I was doing a lot but was still another year of saving away from being able to buy a house. Instead I had to get an apartment alone for a year. It's expensive where I am, so with rent, bills from this it's over $2,500, which isn't a huge deal with the money I make, but is really unfortunate and will set me back 2-3 years more in saving for a house. They were mostly supportive besides basically kicking me out of nowhere. They helped me move my stuff, 15-20 minutes away, and I moved out 2 months ago. We still talk on the phone 3-4 days a week and everything is mostly fine, but deep down I am hurt and resentful towards them. Still respectful and grateful for everything they gave me, but not getting a reason and setting me back almost out of nowhere hurts. I don't know if it was jealousy for me doing something at this age they couldn't, or if I was insufferable without knowing it. My mom has started to invite me over for dinner or for whatever, and I usually decline even if I am not doing anything. I have gone over a few times in the last 2 months for 15-20 minutes, but never for a dinner or anything. The same happened yesterday and I declined. I get a text from my dad saying you're hurting her feelings. I feel bad, but I am also angry because it's always about them. Nobody asks me how I am doing or realizes how hurt I was. Maybe it's just too soon and I don't want to go visit them, or maybe I am just a petty asshole. I am not sure. Edit 1. I have talked to them, they know how I feel and why. My issue isn't moving out. I was more than capable of doing it and I enjoy living alone now. My problem is the guilt tripping for not wanting to visit so quickly. They helped me build a plan when I first got the job, and for them to abandon it with no clear explanation feels wrong to do to your only child, but I understand it's entirely possibly they changed their mind and wanted to live alone, which is fine. I didn't complain and moved out right away. I just want some space without feeling bad about myself. That is the main issue. Looking at my calls and texts, I realize I was downplaying how much contact they were making. I have a call from them almost every day. And invited to come over multiple times a week for the last month. I am very grateful for what they did for me. Edit 2. I want to also make it clear that I owned my own car. Paid for my own food, phone, gas, insurance, trips, clothes. I paid for basically everything besides rent. Which I pay now. Not the asshole. Unless you are leaving out a lot of information, did you hold wild parties nightly? JK. They just decided out of the blue that it was time for you to move out. That's odd. And doing that to you pushed back your well-thought-out plans 2 to 3 years, that's awful. I can't imagine doing that to my kids. Not the asshole feelings are never the reason for anyone being an AH. I encourage you to be the adult they want and talk to them honestly and calmly. Well, I'm trying my hardest to get over the hurt I feel too. They need to know why you're hurting. Tell them that you felt kicked out. It has set you back years, and you are working to get over it. It's just going to take some time. Be sure to mention that you understand that they were well within their right to make the decision they made, but that doesn't change that you feel hurt by it. Not the asshole. I'm sure lots of people will call you out for living at home that long rent-free, but you are just fortunate to have parents who can afford that. Getting asked to move out suddenly with no reason can certainly be confusing. Also, it's not like you don't speak to your parents, you just aren't going over often. You might be a little petty, but hey, we all are petty at times. It feels good. Info. I know they knew about that goal, but did they ever explicitly agree to housing you until you turned 23? I feel like there has been a major lack of communication between you and your parents. Both in regards to them really explaining the genuine reasons for wanting you to move out, and for the super short notice, but also with you not expressing how hurt you feel by that, and how that has affected you, and your desire to spend time with them. I really feel like there is more to them asking you to move out than they have told you. You're not the asshole. But I think you should be honest with them about why you're not spending time with them, then maybe they'll be honest with you. Good luck. Am I the asshole for wanting to fully live in a place that I will be paying rent and utilities for? My partner and I had recently discussed cohabitating together within the next several months. Both of us are working professionals and are pretty much on the same page when it comes to sharing expenses. However, my partner has 3 children from another relationship. To add, his children are the world to him, and he has made it clear on numerous occasions that they will always come first. If we were to sign a lease together, my partner expects me to book an Airbnb out of my own pocket or to crash with friends whenever he has the kids over because he doesn't want to make them feel uncomfortable. According to my partner, his 3 teenage children, technically, 2 teenagers and 1 18-year-old, have not moved on from the divorce and are displeased with the idea of their dad being with any woman who is not their mother. In addition, my partner expects me to be flexible with their needs by leaving the apartment and booking a hotel room, out of my pocket, whenever random mama drama comes up in which the kids need to stay over. My partner has even told me that if we're to get married, he expects us to continue with this arrangement and to have the kids live with him for as long as they want. If I am contributing to rent and utilities for a place, I expect to live in it. Anyone else who lives with us must learn to adapt and share. My partner thinks I am being selfish, unreasonable, and that I just don't get it because I do not have kids of my own. Am I the asshole? Edited. I have added some points below to provide some clarification based on some of the comments I have read. 1. There's been some posts here questioning if there's a huge age gap in this relationship. There's only a 7-year difference, which isn't that drastic in my opinion. 2. I am not a secret mistress. My partner, now ex, is legally divorced and has showed me the documents. 3. No, I am not considering signing a lease with him or being in this relationship with him anymore. However, I did create this post because I do lack experience dating single parents. Many people have told me that it's reasonable for parents to put their children first and that dating a single parent means being more flexible or accommodating. So, I created this post partly to honestly gain perspective as to if my ex's expectations are actually normal, reasonable. 4. I don't think people initially go into relationships deliberately seeking to be mistreated, abused, or taken for granted. In addition, I don't think people get into relationships expecting them to fail and expect to work out any disagreements that may arise. People reveal more of themselves as a relationship progresses. That may be good or bad. And no, I am not signing a lease with him, nor am I currently in a relationship with him anymore. 5. Unfortunately, the situation I experienced is legitimate and not rage bait. I wish that were the case. 6. Keep it civil. If this post triggers you, it's totally okay to skip it and find another one to participate in. Not the asshole. Run, run, run. Please run. He's nuts. Are you much younger than him? I can't think of anyone who would find his proposition reasonable. It's literally crazy talk. The fact that he's calling you unreasonable for it makes me wonder if he has a habit of trying to flip the script and make you the bad guy for saying no to his stupid and insane plans. He is being selfish and unreasonable. Definitely don't agree to move in with him, and please take his word seriously and reflect if you want to stay with him. If you agree to this, you are a doormat. If you say no, he will forever think you are unreasonable and selfish, and likely shit-talk you to his children. While I am all for a parent putting their kids first, this is too much. If he feels this way, then he isn't ready to move in with anyone, and he may not even be ready to date anyone. If he is going to date, his children are going to have to be around that person to some extent. Not the asshole. Run, run now. Do not sign any paperwork with him. Get your own place and move along. This will never work. Location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. Not the asshole. But surely it's crazy to move in with someone who is keeping you a secret, and expecting you to keep yourself secret. Would I be the asshole for not paying my part of a vacation I am no longer welcome to? A couple I'm friends with asked me, to spend our summer vacation together. Jane has been a really close friend for a long time. I also get along really well with her partner, John, so no-brainer. We found a beautiful but somewhat pricey vacation home. Driving time is 10+ hours. I went along with it despite a couple of huge inconveniences for me. They moved the original June date to July, August. I have a week-long business trip, 4+ hours of driving in the opposite direction, until the evening before. There was no way for me to get to the house the day of. This means having to travel separately, me coming home exhausted Friday night, packing my stuff, picking up my dog etc. before getting in the car again sometime Saturday night. On top, I would have to be on call the entire time to sub for a colleague who is also on vacation. Later we also realized that the house only has one real bedroom and that I would have to sleep on the open gallery. Again, happy to compromise. I immediately offered to pay my share when John paid the deposit. He shrugged it off. John and I are both financially stable, with him earning more than me. Jane switched career paths a couple of years ago but struggles to build a consistent client base. I know that John subsidized past vacations, and I also offered to pay more than my share. I repeatedly raised the question of how to split the cost and asked for his account number to at least wire him my official share. I was always met with, "We'll figure it out later." Mid-June Jane requested we meet because she felt there was not enough togetherness leading up to the vacation. This was directed to both John and I. We talked it out and all seemed well. I brought up the money issue again. Shortly after, I left for another 10-day trip, and the invoice for the final payment came. There was some communication around it, but the ball was in John's court. Things were hectic after I got home, 11 days before payment was due, 3 weeks until vacation, so I only got back to them a week later and said I would pay about 20% more than my share, still no account hash. I would have also been fine with paying the remaining sum and sorting things out later. Cue the drama. Jane replies by calling my behavior not okay, getting back too late, not trying to sort things out, not asking for his account hash etc. Also saying again I was not committed enough, WTF? The email ended with, "At this point, I don't feel like going on vacation with you." Not wanting to be the asshole and trying to still rescue the friendship, I replied that despite her being wrong I would still pay my part. Stupid, I know. Not able to admit fault. Jane then said the money was not the central issue and doubled down on the too little active involvement aspect, while she herself never made any effort either, putting a definite stop to our vacation. She also sent me John's account number to contribute however much I see fit. I'm now thinking zero. Wibta? It sounds like she wanted to be upset and organized a situation where she could be so. In Ta. The amount you should see fit to commit is 0. Why would you pay for them to go on vacation? Not the asshole, I think. Why would you be paying anything to accept their decision to univite you? It doesn't sound as if your acceding to their wishes cost them anything extra, so what's the issue here? $0 sound about right to me. Also sending proof that you asked and leaving it at that. What more involvement was needed after you booked the place and tried to pay her? Why need more togetherness beforehand when you're going to be together for 10 days? And why should you pay more for not even getting your own room? This screams nightmare. Don't go and don't pay. Not the asshole.